Good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to talk about a new chapter, chapter 13, probability, right? So without further ado, let's take a look at what this chapter is all about. So first thing first, before we talk about the concept of probability, there are a few terms, okay, you need to be familiar with, okay? So let me start off with this term, random experiment. So what's the meaning of this a random experiment? So a random experiment means this experiment, okay, it must be random. All right. So the meaning of random is must be um, by chance. All right. It must be by chance. Okay. Um, not um, not rigged or fixed. Okay. So you can't determine it. All right. No one can determine this experiment. All right. So it's simply by chance. All right. Or sometimes people call it by the hand of God. All right. So that's the meaning of a random experiment. And the next term you need to be familiar with is sample space. So sample space. So what's the meaning of this? Okay. Sample space is the set of all possible outcomes, right? The set of all possible outcomes. So let me give you an example. Okay, so let's say you have a unbiased unbiased dice, right? So for a dice, right? So what are the possible outcomes, right? So the the possible outcomes for a dice is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so all this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are possible outcomes. Are possible outcome of dice. Right? So I hope you know what is the meaning of uh, outcomes and samples. Right? So over here, outcome seems to be just outcome here seems to be just um, the event. I mean that particular event, that particular event. So in this case, for a unbiased dice, so that particular event like get a 1, okay, so that is an outcome, right? Or that particular event 6 is also a outcome, and all these possible outcomes will give you your sample space. All right, so pretty easy. Okay, so without further ado, let me give you an example, or rather let's make use of the example here, an unbiased dice. Okay, so before I continue, let me erase it. All right, so the sample space, all right, so the sample space for a dice, okay, is, you actually use this, okay, set notation represent. All right, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So this is your samples. Okay, you can actually use your set notation language to represent your samples for a dice. All right. So now, what if the question asks what's the probability? Oh, okay. So the probability probability probability. All right. So let me define what's the meaning of probability. So the meaning of probability is the chance of getting. All right. So let's say the question asks what's the probability. So remember the notation. The probability of getting a 1. Okay. So that's how you represent this probability probability of getting 1. Alright, so what is the probability of getting 1 here? Okay, so the probability of getting 1 is, so it's a fraction, right? Okay, so it's a fraction. Okay, so in this case, the total outcomes or the sample space is 6. So total outcome is 6. Okay, and the chance of getting a 1 is 1 out of 6. Right? Right. Okay. So let me try out with another. Okay. So let me erase this. So let me try out with another probability of 2. So what is the probability of getting a 2 in this sample space? Okay. So over here you see 6 outcomes. Okay. You put it at the denominator and you see only 1, 2. But there is only 1, 2 sample space. Alright. So therefore the chance of getting a 2 out of the 6 possible outcome is 1. So basically what it means is you get 1, 2. So you get 1, 2, 1, 2 out of 6 possible outcomes. Okay. That will give you the probability of getting a 2. Alright. So I hope you understand. Okay, it's a pretty easy example. Right, so let me move on. Okay, so let's move on to this question. So the question says you have an unbiased coin, right? So unbiased coin, right? So I hope you know what is coin. So you have a head for a coin, okay? And a letter is selected at random from the word SMRT. All right, so you have SMRT word, right? And find the probability of getting a head. Is a head and the letter M. Right. So first thing first, okay, you need to find out what is the sample space. Okay, so what is the sample space? So in order to find out the sample space here, I hope you know that you have 2 events here. Okay, one of them is a coin toss. Okay, so you have a coin toss. So the coin toss can be either head or tail. All right, and you also have selection of a letter from the word SMRT. So over here is letter selection, and the word is SMR T. All right. So your sample space will be given by this possibility diagram, right? So this is a possibility diagram or the diagram. Okay, so with this possibility diagram here, so this is your possibility diagram. Right, so with this possibility diagram here, you get to see your sample space, right? So your sample space is, and it can be represented by this, okay, by this set notation. Okay, so your HS and HM and HR and HT. How do you read it? So this is your HS, your HM, HR, okay, and similarly you have your TS, you have your TM, R, right? So by having a possibility diagram, so easier for you to find out your sample space. All right, I hope you can see. So now with your sample space, you can simply choose from your sample space. Okay, so you want a head and a letter M, right? So the probability of getting HM is, so how many HM you have? Okay, so you have one HM, right? Can you see? It's there, right? So you only have one HM, right? If across your sample space, you have only one of them out of how many possible outcomes? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. So the probability of getting a hit and a letter M is 1/8. Alright. So very simple. Right? Right? So I hope this example is good enough for you to figure out your probability of getting a hit and a letter M from the word. Alright, so with this example and the previous example on a dice, so I have demonstrated to you, okay, you can actually find out the probability of one single event. So over here you have one single event, right? It's just a roll of a dice, right? And over here you have a case of a combined event of both toss of a coin, and selection of letter. Alright, so a combined event, and also find out the probability. And the important thing is get your sample space out, and over here for a combined event, so you can actually use a possibility diagram to help you out to find the sample space. Alright, so with this, and that's it for today, and thank you for watching my videos. Okay, bye bye.